try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands. Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is...
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing this morning? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody had a lovely Easter. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you had a wonderful Easter, a wonderful holiday. I had a pretty good day. I spent time with my family. Doing the husband type thing. The husband duties. We had a nice dinner. Way too much food for just the four of us. Yes, Jose, I seen that. RIP to the Pope. Regardless of what religion you follow, the guy was a man of God. So prayers to him, his family, and all those wonderful people. Aquavision says 420. Yes, 420 for those of you who partake in that specific holiday. I hope you all had a safe and fun and exciting holiday. Very fun, safe holiday. Hopefully you didn't kill too many brain cells. Exciting though. Exciting times. It's draft week. It is draft week. Now, this can be in a very exciting time for the Miami Dolphins, but it is I find myself getting more nervous as it's approaching. Just for the simple fact that this draft, if we don't get it right, if we don't get this draft right, this could set us back years. And the fact that Chris Grier uh, is at the helm. Now I'm sure there's other people that are going to be there helping make decisions, but the fact that Chris Grier is still the general manager, still the one that holds the keys to this team, it worries me a great deal. It worries me a great deal. I am super nervous because, to be honest, Chris Grier's track record doesn't prove to me that he's able to find talent. Michael, I don't trust Grier. That's the whole purpose of this. I'm getting more and more nervous because I don't feel comfortable with Chris Grier leading the charge. I don't feel comfortable with Chris Grier being responsible for drafting the future of this team. That's why, if we weren't going to attack free agency the way that I thought we were going to, if we weren't going to be aggressive, if we were going to do a slight rebuild or a soft rebuild, whatever you want to call it, it just doesn't make sense to me that we brought Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel back. Now there can be an argument to be made that, some people like Mike McDaniel, some people hate him. Some people like Chris Grier, some people hate him. I just feel like if you were going to do a rebuild, if you knew this season wasn't going to be successful, Stephen Ross says the status quo is not good enough. So are these guys getting fired at the end of the season? Are they safe? Is their job safe? What is the deal? And I just wish that we had a clearer vision of what's going on. I feel like they keep us in the dark far too much. And yeah, you can, well, we're just fans. We're just fans. They don't have to explain themselves to us. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Because regardless, maybe we're not billionaires. We don't own football teams. We're not star athletes, but we're responsible for paying these people's checks. These people's salaries come from the fans. Now, it would never happen, but let's say it did. Let's say all the fans, all the Miami Dolphin fans together just came together and refused to go to games, refused to buy merchandise. Say we just had this huge uprising against the system. I bet you'd feel that. I bet you they'd feel that. Grier drafted running back Jay Wright. Then McDaniel did not use him. Now reported that running back is on their list again this draft. Edward, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't running back be on the list? I mean, I didn't think, I thought Jalen Wright looked decent in college. Another very fast player. But I didn't think that he looked like he was a guy that was going to come in here and be a starting running back for the Miami Dolphins. Devon Achane. You listen, I love Devon Achane. But let's keep it real. Devon Achane is not a starting running back. He's a great change of pace back. I'd love to see him get 12 to 15 carries a game. I think he'd be way more efficient if that were the case. I like how they used him in the passing game. But does anybody really see Devon Achane as a bell cow running back? I mean, maybe some of you do, and that's cool. You know, I mean, I think if we had a better offensive line, he'd definitely perform better. I just don't like that our running back is, 5'8", 5'9", 170 pounds. I don't know how you can push the pile being 5'8", 5'9", 170 pounds. But this draft scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Excuse my language. This draft scares the shit out of me because it can put us behind the eight ball. This draft could really affect us for years to come. And that's what's even more confusing about the whole situation. You got Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel out there drafting. Mike McDaniel and his offensive scheme, the type of players that he drafts for his scheme, that's not a scheme that everybody runs. Mike McDaniel needs a very distinct type of player along the offensive line. He needs a more fast, athletic offensive lineman where, the next coach that comes into the Miami Dolphins, they might like big bruiser guys. Then all the guys on our offensive line are useless. So if we go out and draft a guard in the top three rounds, is he even going to be a player that the next general manager can use? Is our center going to be a player that the next general manager and coach can use? Not to mention, Chris Grier just doesn't have a good track record of picking the correct player. Chris Grier really took over this draft 9-10 years ago. 9-10 years ago, he became the real general manager of this football team. I mean, he's been with the franchise a lot longer. But he really became the general manager, the man in charge 9-10 years ago. Daniel, you have full confidence in Chris Grier. The negativity has to stop. First off, is Jahdae Barron at 13. I think that's a horrible pick at 13. I think that's an absolute horrible pick at 13. And that's what I mean. Everybody's going to be split on what they think is a good draft pick, I guess. Jahdae Barron, to me, is going to be more of a slot corner. He's going to be more of a nickel corner in the NFL. I've already heard people talking about, drafting Jahdae Barron for the Miami Dolphins, and they were talking about, oh, you can put him at the nickel and move Cater to the outside. Yeah, right. Do you remember what happened when we put Cater on the outside? He was getting cooked. Cater's not an outside corner. We have a nickel corner right now. I don't like Jahdae Barron at 13. Was Chop the right pick was Chop the right pick? Just because you're fast, don't make up for his size. Just because you're fast doesn't make up for your size, brother. And it's cool you like Jahdae Barron. I'm not mad at you because you do. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jahdae Barron comes in and he ends up being a great outside corner. I could be wrong. I'm not perfect, but I believe they're going to play him more at the nickel or the slot. Even some at safety inside the box. I believe that's where they'll use Jahdae Barron if he's drafted by the Miami Dolphins. I don't believe they're going to put him on the outside. And now that Jalen Ramsey wants to be traded, I just don't feel like that's the right pick. And Jose, I'm not mad at you for feeling like that, brother. I'm not mad at you for feeling like that. If you take a player at 13 at the cornerback position, I feel like it's got to be Will Johnson. It's got to be Will Johnson. Look at the speed on this team for that not winning. That's true, Michael. We got tons of speed and we're not winning the games. Sometimes it can't just be all about speed and undersized guys. You know what I mean? You can't just have speed and undersized guys. Sometimes you got to get the prototypical guys, the big guys. That's why I'm more and more okay with Tyler Booker at the guard position, even though he's not a scheme fit for us. Screw the scheme fit. That man, I think he can get out, and I know he had terrible combine numbers. He moves people out of the way. He moves people out of the way. I think he'll be fine as far as him being athletic enough to. I think, and that's what I think. I think Tyler Booker is. I think he's a dog. I think he'll be athletic enough to run Chris Grier's scheme. Daniel Barron is a puppy. He's a puppy. He's a little guy. He's a puppy. He might be a little ferocious puppy, but he a puppy. Chop was second place for defensive rookie of the year. What are we talking about? Was he in second? Was he second place? Was he in second place? I don't think he did finish in second place. Ferocious puppy. I got you, but yeah, he ferocious puppy, but he a puppy. I see San Francisco taking Johnson as many experts mock. Elwood, you could be right. And if Johnson's gone, the right decision is to trade down. If Johnson's gone, you trade down. Sackman 56, Grant at 13, that's a reach. Grant will be available in the 20s. Grant may fall to the second round. Grant may fall to the second round. Good morning, Kat. Yeah, he got invited, but didn't he finish like fifth? Jose. Chop got invited to the award show, but didn't he finish like fifth? And I like Chop. Don't get me wrong, I like Chop. But was he the right pick? All the top interior defensive lines were available, and look what we went into the season with. Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg as their two starting guards. I like Chop, don't get me wrong, but he struggles against the run. Chop only had 5. I'll give you 5 good games. Chop only had five good games. And I think he's going to be good this year. I think Chop's going to be, I'm hoping he's great this year. What position did Chop Robinson finish in Defensive Rookie of the Year? He finished 5th for Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is still good, Jose. That's still good. It's still good. But was he the right pick for the Miami Dolphins when we had no interior offensive line? I mean, just sometimes you got to go with what your team needs. If you're not, Chop was seen as a project. I wanted Brian Thomas Jr., so I would say no. Yeah, but Jose, that wide receiver wasn't a position of need for us. Not yet. A lot of people are giving us Kelvin Banks at 13. And Elwood, Kelvin Banks could end up being a great player for us. But I think this draft is so deep. This draft is so deep that we need to try to trade back to 20, 21, 22 if Will Johnson's not available at 13. Because the starting corners, it's hard to get a starting corner out of the draft unless they're a first-round player. It's hard to get a corner in the second round and thrust them in the starting. It just is. It's hard to get a third-round corner and throw them to the Wolves. They almost got to be first-round picks. They got to be first-round talents. You know what I mean? So, Will Johnson at 13. Listen, there's players at offensive tackle, offensive guard that we can get in the third round that they can do what we need them to do. But this draft is super deep. So if you can trade back to 20, 21, 22, you get that extra second round pick. That's huge for us. Starts at 13. That's a reach, Michael. I don't see Starks going before 20. All these guys that you guys wanna pick at 13, they're gonna be available at 20 more than likely. And let's say Starks ain't there at 20. If Starks ain't there, then Emma Worry will be. They're both not going in the top 20. Chris Grier can steal my car, punch me in the face, kick my dog, draft a punter in the first round, and trade Ramsey for a 5th-round pick. It don't matter. Fins up. Damn, Luis. You better call the motherfucking cops, Nick. You better call the cops, Luis. That man do all that. Who you like at 13? The only person I like at 13, unless someone falls, if there's a Laramie Tunsil type fall, the only person at 13 is Will Johnson. That's the only person at 13. Other than that, I'm trading down. Or if Membu falls to 13, somehow. But other than that, I'm trading down, trying to get that extra second rounder. I'm trading to the top of the second round after I get that extra second rounder. We got 10 picks. We don't need to draft 10 players. A safety in the first round, laugh out loud, got to be after 20. Yeah, I don't. The earliest that I think we should take a safety at the very earliest is at the top of the second, and I don't even love it there. Elwood, we don't need 25 picks though. If we get that extra second rounder, I'm telling you, if we can trade from 13 to 22, we get an extra second rounder. And then we package some picks to move up to 34, 35. We can still get, I think we can get a Kenneth Grant, TJ Sanders, Walter Nolan, one of those defensive tackles. I mean, if we're going to take Jahdae Barron, I think you could probably get him at 2021. So people that are screaming for Jahdae Barron, that's the pick. If you trade back, that's the pick in the first round. Jahdae Barron at 20, 21, 22. So let's say you get Jahdae Barron at 21, 22. You trade it back to 21, 22, got an extra second rounder. You trade up to the top of the second round. You take either Kenneth Grant, TJ Sanders, Walter Nolan, whichever, Alfred Collins, whichever one's available. And then you got to pick at 48 also. And that's where you take your guard or your tackle. And then with our first 3 picks that came in the top 2 rounds, you have filled a lot of holes. You got your starting corner, you got your starting defensive tackle, and you got your starting guard / tackle. And that's the direction this team needs to go. Luis, absolutely. You can get a great guard, a great offensive tackle still at pick 48. Shoot, even our 3rd round pick, you can still get a very good one. Yeah, we get that extra second round. That's huge. And then you package maybe a 3rd rounder from next year to move up to the top of the second. I like Will Johnson, Barron, Will Campbell. If we don't draft one of them, I won't be watching the rest of the draft. Well, there's a good chance that Will Johnson and Will Campbell are gone at pick 13. And I don't love Barron at 13. I hope we trade back then. And then there's a possibility that someone comes up and grabs Barron. There is a possibility. But I'd rather be without Barron and get an extra second rounder than have Barron without an extra second rounder. That's just me. I want to take a look at, people say they're confident in Chris Grier. You show me why you're confident. You show me why you were confident. Since Chris Grier has taken over as general manager for the Dolphins, been in control of the draft. 2016, Laramie Tunsil falls in his lap. Great pick at 13. Great pick. Xavier Howard in the 2nd round. Great pick. Kenyon Drake in the 3rd. Not horrible. Not horrible. Carew never lived up to expectations. Jakeem Grant, good special teams player. Jordan Lucas. None of these players are on this team anymore. Although we did trade Laramie Tunsil for a ton of picks. A ton of picks. This draft, I give Chris Grier a B+, a A-. So it looked promising. At the beginning, it looked promising for Chris Grier. His first draft was a good draft. His first draft was a good draft. Listen, Tyler Booker, I don't care if he's a schematic fit or not. Tyler Booker is a dog. And he will move people out of the way, bro. I like Tyler Booker. I don't care if he's a scheme fit or not. I don't care if he's a scheme fit or not. Tyler Booker is a dog, and he moves people out the way. He's the best guard in this draft. He's the best natural guard in this draft. And then what if Mike McDaniel gets fired this year? Tyler Booker would have been a perfect pick for maybe the next people coming in. Still paying Howard. Yeah, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So regardless, Chris Grier, would you guys admit that Chris Grier in 2016 did a good job? He did a good job. But from there on out, it was all downhill. Kelvin Banks is a good player too. He is a good player. 2017 draft. This was absolutely atrocious draft for us. Absolutely atrocious. Charles Harris. We take it 22. TJ Watt's available there. We take Charles Harris. Charles Harris did absolutely nothing for us. Raekwon McMillan, he played a couple years for us. Nothing to really talk about. Tankersley, nothing. Devon Godshaw, he had a couple solid seasons for us. But this draft was absolutely a waste of a draft. A complete waste of a draft. Drafts like this will set your team back years. Drafts like this will set your team back years. Was Chris Grier in love with the Charles Harris pick? Why did you not have TJ Watt on your board? You've seen what his brother was able to accomplish. And just because your brother does something in the league doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna. But I would have liked the odds of TJ Watt becoming a special player in this league over Charles Harris. Drafts like this will set you back years. Absolutely horrible draft. Horrible. Terrible, terrible class. 2018 draft class, one of the worst that you can possibly see. 2019 draft class, or 2018 draft class, my fault. Good first pick, Micah Fitzpatrick. Good first pick, Micah Fitzpatrick. Best safety in the draft class. Mike Gesicki in the second round. Jerome Baker in the third round. Jerome Baker played a lot of years for us. Durham Smythe in the fourth. He played a lot of years for us. Jason Sanders in the seventh. He's been a strong kicker for us. He drives me crazy sometimes, but, he's been an all-pro. Jerome Baker he started a lot of games for us. This draft wasn't bad. This draft wasn't bad, but it turned bad because they didn't allow Micah Fitzpatrick. The coaching staff did not allow Micah Fitzpatrick to be the player that he was. He ended up being an absolute failure for us because Brian Flores just couldn't swallow his pride and listen to the kid. Brian Flores just couldn't swallow his pride and listen to the kid. And everybody wants to say, oh, Brian Flores, such a great coach, great coach, great coach. He literally threw Micah Fitzpatrick away. Threw him away. Trades him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Gesicki, he was a one-trick pony. Very good receiving tight end, but can't block. Cannot block to save his life. If Mike Gesicki's on the field, the Miami Dolphins are passing the football. But a strong receiving tight end. Strong receiving tight end. And like I said, Jerome Baker was solid for a lot of years. Durham Smythe, good blocking tight end. became a decent receiver until last year. Last year, he just had the case of the drops. I'll give this draft if Micah Fitzpatrick would have stayed with the Miami Dolphins, this draft would have probably been a B-. Because Micah Fitzpatrick leaves, this draft is a C at best, a C. So back to back, we had a F draft, a C draft. CB83, what up, brother? Yeah, we got a first round draft pick for Fitzpatrick, but again, Chris Grier can't draft worth a damn. Imagine if Micah Fitzpatrick would have been on this team. There would have been no need to draft Javon Holland in the second. No need to draft Javon Holland in the second. So we're at 2018 draft. Let's check out the 2019 draft. 2019 draft, Christian Wilkins at 13. That's a successful pick. 2019, we trade our second round pick to the Arizona Cardinals for a trash quarterback. For a trash quarterback that Arizona would have probably dumped for nothing. The Arizona probably would have dumped for nothing. They were trying to draft Kyler Murray. They absolutely knew that they were. You just threw away a second round pick. You just straight threw away a second round pick. Third round, Michael Dieter, nothing but a backup offensive lineman. You traded the fourth rounder to the Saints. Fifth round, you got Andrew Van Ginkel. That was a great pick. Van Ginkel was a great pick. But then you don't re-sign him. You don't re-sign Christian Wilkins or Andrew Van Ginkel. So how high can you honestly give this draft when you're not re-signing the players that you're drafting? Exactly, Glenn. So how much, we're drafted. Even when he drafts good players, he doesn't have the hindsight to go and give these guys contract extensions. Why are we not re-signing these guys? Exactly, Glenn. These draft picks aren't as good as what they seem to be on paper if you don't re-sign them. Because you got to figure their first years in the league, they're going to struggle. They're going to have struggles. By the time they hit their stride, we're not re-signing them and they're walking out the door playing for another team. Look at Van Ginkel. He had a fantastic year for the Vikings this year. CB, I think you got to have a happy medium. If like a guy like Christian Wilkins isn't a star, I would say. Christian Wilkins isn't a star defensive tackle. So you want to try to draft replacements for guys like that. But you got to have them in the building already. And know what you got. Like the Eagles. The Eagles have guys, from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and they already know what they got. So they know that the backup is a suitable replacement for the guy they're letting walk out the door. We're letting the guy walk out the door, and then we're heading into the draft having to replace that player, and we don't know what we're getting. We're going in blind. So we're not, we're trying to replace players, all pro players that are very good players with draft picks that we don't know how good they're going to be when they get in here. Calais was a better move for last year, but now we're left naked. We're left with no defensive tackles. CB. We're left with no D tackles. I mean, Calais for what he gave us last year, yeah, that was more efficient. It was more cash efficient. We re-signed Waddle. I feel like that was a mistake. I feel like re-signing Waddle was a mistake. I would have rather re-signed Christian Wilkins than Jalen Waddle. Cap, you don't like either of those corners? Waddle's not elite. Waddle is not elite. Waddle's not elite in my opinion. We did not draft Sealer. Yeah, that's right. But we still re-signed him though, Glenn. So I mean, that's fair. That's fair. We've re-signed some players. You need to re-sign some of the dogs on this team, though. Some of the dogs. Yeah, we go out and re-sign Xavier Howard. We go out and re-sign, Jalen Waddle. But how about Robert Hunt? How about the big and nasties that are the people in the trenches? That are important, more important to a team's success than these other plays are. Christian Wilkins is a dog. You didn't think Christian Wilkins was a dog? I think Van Ginkel was a dog. Come on, Wilkins was a dog. And if he's not, that's your general manager's fault. Yeah, I don't think Jalen Waddle is elite. Where are we at? Christian Wilkins. All right, the next draft. Tua Tagovailoa, Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones, Selman Kinley. Now you could say this is a good draft, right? You could say this is a phenomenal draft, right? Except Tua was injury prone coming in. Austin Jackson was injury prone. Noah was a terrible pick. Robert Hunt, we didn't re-sign. Raekwon Davis, he was an all right backup defensive tackle. Brandon Jones, he goes and plays good for Denver. But I'm not mad that we didn't re-sign Brandon Jones. But the fact that Chris Grier took a quarterback that was coming back from a career-threatening injury, that was a mistake. It was a mistake. And I like Tua, but it was a mistake. Austin Jackson, that's not a successful pick. You can't say Austin Jackson's a successful pick. Was it his best? Was it his best draft class, Glenn? Did Wilkins end up getting overpaid? Yeah. Devontae Smith isn't elite neither, Cat. Neither one of them are elite wide receivers. Neither one are elite wide receivers. But was this a good draft? Was it Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback that everybody is screaming not to have given this contract extension to? The quarterback that can't stay healthy? Austin Jackson, he had given some blood or some bone marrow to his sister, and he's not a successful pick. We drafted him as a left tackle, a first round left tackle. He is an average right tackle for this football team. He's not an elite right tackle. He's an average right tackle. When you're drafted to play the left tackle position, that is a failure. That is a failure. Justin Jefferson and Chase are elite. That is right. That is correct. Shake. Elwood, 6 started. I mean, Eichenberg started a lot of games for this team. Is he a success? Is Eichenberg a success? I mean, people are going to have different opinions on this draft, whether you are Tua fans or you're not Tua fans. But to me, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. It's not a good draft. Now we're stuck with a $60 million quarterback that we can't depend on year in and year out. He has handcuffed this franchise by not being able to stay healthy. And then again, Robert Hunt was a rental. He was a couple-year rental. And then we let him walk out the door. And I get letting him walk out the door for $20 million. But if Chris Grier had the foresight to realize, hey, we should re-sign this guy. He's a pretty good player. You could have probably had him $3-4 million a year cheaper. The next year, 2021 draft, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Howland, Liam Eichenberg, Hunter Long. Jalen Waddle, that's a reach. That's a reach. That's not a good pick at 6. It wasn't a good pick at 6. Not to mention we traded away an extra first rounder to get back up to 6 to draft him. That was a terrible decision. Terrible. Jalen Phillips, another injury-prone player that we drafted. This guy medically retired from college football. Medically retired from college football. And I like Jalen too. He's probably one of my favorite players on the team. But has he lived up to the number 18 position in the first round of the draft? No, not even close. Not even close. Javon Howland looked like a phenomenal pick for 2 years. Javon Howland no longer on the team. Liam Eichenberg, we traded up in the second round to grab Liam Eichenberg. Horrible pick. Horrible. Horrible. Horrible pick. Glenn, I think a first-round pick is expected to be elite. You don't think a first-round draft pick is supposed to be elite? I do. I think a first-round draft pick should be elite. Glenn, but just because Phillips had a great senior season in college, he was still one hit away from retiring. Hunter Long in the third. You know what I mean? Listen, I think if you were taken in the first round, you should be an elite player. He's not even a good player. He's not a good player at the left tackle position. And that's where we drafted him. He's not even a good player, Glenn. At left tackle. He's not even a good player at right tackle. He's an average player. Maybe slightly above average. Maybe slightly above average, but nothing to write home about. This draft was a failure. Cap, you're gonna be here all day if you're listening all the bad choices. All right, Glenn. Let's take the word elite off. Let's take the word elite off. Do you expect if you're drafting in the first round, you're going to get a good player? Glenn, would you expect that you get a good starting player in the first round? Let's take the elite off that. Let's take the elite off that. Do you think you should get a good starting player in the first round? (2022) draft. We traded one of the first round picks to Philadelphia to move up and get Jalen Waddle. Bad draft already. Traded 2 first round and a second round to Kansas City to get Tyreek Hill. So I'll say that's positive. I'll say that's a positive. Traded a third rounder to the New York Giants. Channing Tindall has been absolutely nothing. Disgusting. Easy E, absolutely nothing. So, I mean, you brought in Tyreek Hill, which was huge. But in reality, is this draft a success? No, it's not. It's not. Even with the addition of Tyreek Hill, it's not a success because we weren't Tyreek Hill player away from being elite. That's a lot of picks to give up for one player, even if that player is Tyreek Hill. And then the rest of the draft was trash. Easy E, nothing. Channing Tindall, nothing. Channing Tindall we thought he was going to be our Josh Allen stopper. Let's go to 2023. Forfeited our draft pick because Chris Grier and Stephen Ross were doing some funny stuff with Tom Brady. That already makes this draft a failure. Traded a first round pick for Bradley Chubb. Failure. Absolutely bad decision. Horrible decision. Second round, Cam Smith. Bust. Third round pick traded to the Rams for Jalen Ramsey, a corner on the downside of his career. Another big contract. Third round, Devon Achane. Good pick, but not a bell cow running back, but a good pick, a playmaker for your team. I like the pick there. I like that pick. Another bad draft, though. 2024, Chop Robinson. It's a good pick. It's not a horrible pick. It's not a great pick. It's a good pick. It could become a great pick, depending on what type of player he becomes. Second round, Patrick Paul. Listen, people are talking about replacing Patrick Paul already. which is crazy. I mean, we don't know. Give the kid a chance, but it's not looking overly promising at the moment. When we're talking about replacing him already, it's not looking overly promising. Another forfeited pick in the third round, terrible. Jalen Wright, we trade up to get him. What's he going to become? Is he really a bell cow back? Is he going to be a bell cow back? You got Malik Washington. That, you could see that as a positive player. That's a good pick. All the way in the 6th round, get a starting slot wide receiver. Good pick. This draft is no better than at the current moment. This draft is no better than a C though, maybe a C plus. I mean, this draft can get way better though. I mean, if Chop Robinson comes out and has 12 sacks this year, and Patrick Paul has a good season, this draft could get way better. But as of right now, it's a C plus draft. C plus draft. Now, do you have the confidence that the Miami Dolphins and Chris Grier is going to get it right? Yeah, Glenn, if we would have took Chase, we would have had no reason to trade for Tyreek Hill. We would have had no reason to trade for Tyreek Hill. Bradley Chubb was not a first round talent. The Broncos probably jumped all over that when they seen that we were willing to give up a first rounder for Bradley Chubb. They were probably like, got one. That was a huge mistake, especially when the Ravens had traded only a second rounder to get Roquan Davis a couple weeks prior to that. I mean, I just don't have faith that he can. And if we draft bad this year, you got to rock with them for a year, at least a year, 2 years, to see if they're worth anything. So that's 2 years from now before we can know that if we have any talent from this year's draft. I mean, some players will show you before, some, you know what I mean? But you can't really give up on a player for at least 2-3 years. I think Grant is a stretch at 13 cap, in my opinion. Not saying he's not worth the pick. I just think he's going to be there considerably later. Yeah, Jonathan Evans. I've checked out a lot of later round corners, and there's some good ones. I just don't feel confident that they can come in and start. There's a learning process, especially at the corner position. It's super hard for a corner taken in the second, third, fourth round to come in and start immediately. It just is. So why, I don't feel like this, by Chris Grier's history, I don't feel like we're going to have a successful season. So is Chris Grier getting fired this year? If the answer to that question is yes, why was he left in charge of drafting players for a team that he's not going to be a part of in the future? That's why it's mind blowing that Chris Grier or Stephen Ross didn't just cut it off last year. If we weren't going to go out and be aggressive in free agency, we might as well just cut ties with these guys this year. Why wait? Why wait? What is the benefit in that? You give this man another opportunity to screw up this franchise. You're giving this guy another opportunity to stick it to this franchise, because I don't have faith that he's gonna get 2 starters out this draft. In reality, he should get 3 or 4. With how deep this draft is and how empty this team is, there's no reason we shouldn't get 3 or 4 starters out of this draft. But I don't believe we will. I don't believe we'll get more than 2. And 2's lucky. Maybe so, Joe, but as long as he's not in control of the draft, you know what I mean? But what's he going to be in control of finding his replacement? Like, what position are they going to put him in? I just don't want him in control of our franchise anymore. I don't want him in control of our roster anymore. Darian, I feel like they've already given him an opportunity to rebuild this team. He's been in control of the draft for 10 years. How has he not had the opportunity to draft the team and build the team the way he's want to build it? How has he not had the opportunity already? He has failed. He has already failed at that. What am I missing here? He's failed at least twice. I think 4 years is a good amount of time for a GM to be able to build a team. That means he's failed twice. He's been here 8, 9, 10 years in control of the draft. That means he's failed at least twice. He's on his 3rd go around. What do you mean they've agreed to let him rebuild the team the way he wants to? He's already had that opportunity multiple times. Ross doesn't know football, though. Come on. Ross listens to what they say. I guarantee, because this draft, he will get at least 3 starters out of it. Yeah, well, he starts players like Liam Eichenberg. So does he get 3? Does he get 3 quality starters out this draft, Darian? Because I struggle to believe that. I struggle to believe he gets 3 quality starters. Maybe he gets 3 starters, but does he get 3 started quality starting players? Jose, I don't want to convince anybody of anything. I'm just giving my personal opinion, brother. You know what I mean? I don't have the confidence that he's gonna make the, you know what I mean? He's gonna make the right decisions. And it scares the hell out of me. Because like I said, bad decisions can push us back years. One bad draft can push us back years. The talent evaluators are the biggest waste. Teams with bad evaluators are bad teams. Look at the teams that have good evaluation makers. Joe, but who's to say that the talent evaluators aren't saying, hey, this is a good guard. Hey, this is a good tackle. Hey, this is a good center. And Chris Grier's just saying, we don't need those players. You guys are more worried about the offensive line than we are. Who's saying he's not doing that? So maybe it's not the talent evaluators. They might be telling them who's the talented players in the draft, but Chris Grier has a problem seeing what this team needs are. He doesn't view the true team needs as team needs. We all seen that the offensive line's been a problem. Chris Grier hasn't. Chris Grier dismissed us. So I don't think it's a talent evaluator problem. It's Chris Grier's too cocky for his own britches. Chris Grier thinks he's smarter than everybody else. You can't tell Chris Grier nothing. We're just crybaby fans that he wants off his back. Glenn, I'm not dwelling on it. I'm just nervous that it's just going to lead us down a horrible path. I'm just saying, Joe, I think Chris Grier is cocky. He's arrogant. He thinks he is all-knowing. And that's just how he comes off to me. He absolutely does. He does refuse to. He refuses to accept responsibility. You're absolutely right, Frozen. The fact that disgusts me that he said, we want to get you guys off our backs. What? A true Blazer, we can go farther down that path though. The more bad drafts that we pile on, it can go farther and farther and farther. Make sure you hit that like button for me, will you please? I appreciate it. You think he hires all these talent advisors? He don't listen to none of them. I'm sure he does listen to some of them, Glenn. But I think that if he thinks offensive line ain't the problem, and they're saying that, you know, the most talented player in this draft is an offensive lineman, he's not going to go draft that offensive lineman. He's going to do what he thinks is best. You know what I mean? I don't think he ignores them completely. But if he doesn't see a problem with the offensive line and they're saying, hey, the most talented player is an offensive lineman, he's not gonna go against what he believes. He's gonna do what he thinks is right and what he wants to do. Because he's Chris Grier and he runs his team. And that's all he got to say about that. Yeah, he said he was wrong and was going to address it. And what did he do? He signed one capable player, but one capable guard, but that guard is coming off a major injury. And then a bunch of guys that ain't worth a damn. The rest of the people he brought in this offseason on the offensive line aren't worth a damn. Let's hope he doesn't mess it up. Listen, I really believe that there's got to be some, you know, Brian Flores's lawsuit is still going on. And I really believe that Chris Grier continues to have a job because Chris Grier knows some information about that can bury Stephen Ross. I think that has a lot to do with this. I think that's why he continues to keep his job. I think there's some information and he becomes a liability with that lawsuit. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off base, but I gotta believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. There's just no other explanation to it. There's no other explanation why you continue to fail at your job, yet every year you keep, you know what I mean? Yes, sir. I'll be here. You'll get to see raw emotion because if we will see. We will see. If this draft goes bad, that TV, I swear to God, I'll put my fist right through that son of a bitch. I swear to God. If we draft Tyler Warren, I'm punching a hole right through that TV. So make sure you tune in. If you guys got any draft games you want to play, any drinking games you want to play, any type of thing, let me know. Let me know. We have a good time with it. You know what I mean? Big C, you have to see Old Man Miami fan on the street in New York City about Grier's press conference. It's awesome and hilarious video. I'll check it out. You're absolutely right, Joe. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to be okay with this. We shouldn't have to go through 40 years of our team not being successful. It's unfair. And there's no end in sight. There's no guarantee that we get the. Where's the guarantee? Where's the guarantee that we get to get a Super Bowl for all we put into this team? Stop, Big C. Judge said Miami cannot be in lawsuit because of content. Hey, I thought for sure that he was suing. I mean, who are you really suing? If you're not suing Stephen Ross, make sure, can y'all hit that like button for me real quick? Pretty, please. I'm trying to get this algorithm. We are 18 subscribers away from 700. When we get to 700, I will be giving out $500 to one of you lucky guys. Guys. Yeah, maybe I don't, I'm not 100% positive. That was just my initial thought. I could be 100% off base with that. So if I am, I do apologize. I don't like to give you all fake information. So if I'm wrong about that, I do apologize. That was just my initial thought. You know what I mean? That thought has creeped up in my mind. I've never taken the time to really go investigate it because, what am I going to do about it regardless? But wrongful termination, right? Wrongful termination because he didn't go and forfeit. I don't know, Glenn. Like I said, I could be wrong. And I apologize if I am. I do apologize if I am. Again, 18 subs away. We hit that like button. The more we hit the like button, guys, the more people come and see the video, the more people that possibly subscribe to the channel, the more people that subscribe to the channel, the more benefits for you guys. Because I'm going to do giveaways all the time. Every time we hit a milestone, we're doing a giveaway. And you can see we have 18, 20, 25 people in here at a time sometimes. On bad days, we have less than 15. So you got a great chance of winning something. You got a 1 in 25 chance of winning $500. That's a steal. That's a steal. Let me know what lottery gives you them great odds. A judge said that the other teams could go to court. Only Miami goes to arbitration. Yeah, Glenn, maybe you could be right. I could be wrong. Like I said, I apologize. The key to this video is Chris Grier has shown us no reason to believe that he should be in control of this draft. There's no evidence that Chris Grier can go out and have a successful draft. Because he is yet to do it. No matter how many picks he's had, no matter where he's drafting at. So you could give the guy 3 first rounders and he's not guaranteed to go out and hit a home run. And that's scary. That's scary. That's scary. Like I said, if there's a chance that he's getting fired this year, why is he still in control? Why is he still in control? And I'm usually not as hard on Stephen Ross as a lot of people. Everybody will want to be Stephen Ross, sell the team. I look at it differently because Stephen Ross is paid. He's opened that checkbook. He's been willing to hand over money to bring a winning team to Miami. But the one thing he refuses to do is get rid of Chris Grier. And that is what has held us down the most. Chris Grier has held this team down more than any single player, more than any single coach, more than any other single person. Chris Grier has done it. Chris Grier. Chris Grier. Chris Grier is the reason for all of the Miami Dolphins' problems right now. Bottom line, 100% fact. 100% fact. So let me know if there's any special stuff you want to do during the draft, any special games, predicting the next pick, and you got to take a shot if you get it wrong. So whatever you want to do, whatever you guys might want to do, something to spice it up a little bit, make it fun. But I will definitely be here for draft day. It'll be super fun. Hopefully it's not a depressing day. Hopefully it's not a sad day for us Miami Dolphin fans. Hopefully it's not a day that sets us back even farther than what we currently are. And hopefully, these are the first steps to us building a team the correct way. But do I have faith? Do I have optimism that Chris Grier is able to get the job done? I don't. I'm sorry. I do not. I wish I did, but I do not. But all right, guys, I'll catch y'all later. Kind of a little short today. I know we usually run a little bit longer. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk more NFL draft, more Miami Dolphins. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for showing up. Listen, make sure you spread the word. 18 subs away from giving out a $500 to y'all. We're 300 away from $1,000 giveaway plus a Dan Marino autographed jersey and a few other things. So let's make moves. Continue to show me support. I appreciate it. I love y'all. You know what it is. Fins up no matter what. I don't care if we're, I do care. Don't get it wrong. I do care if we're in the basement, but I'll never stop loving this team. I'll never stop supporting this team. So it's fins up no matter what. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, oh! You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing